Ali McCoist is quite simply the greatest striker ever to play for Rangers. In his 15-year Ibrox career, he scored 355 goals, breaking every goal-scoring record. By season 1991-92, with Rangers challenging for their 4th league championship in a row, Ali was chasing a more personal target, the Golden Boot, awarded to the top goal scorer in Europe. Of all his individual achievements, this was the one he wanted most.
Through the middle for Ali McCoist. Ali McCoist!
Right at the start, probably in my Rangers career, I got an awful lot of criticism. Yeah, he would only score 1 and 4, he only scored 2 and 8, he'd only do this. And my argument is simple. Would you rather have the best finisher in the world in a game who scored 1 out of 1? Or would you rather have a centre forward who scored 2 out of 10? Logic tells you you'd rather have one that scored 2 out of 10. I honestly never used to bother about missing chances, never used to bother at all, because I always knew that eventually I'd get one.
Robertson looking for Haitley. Into the path of McCoist it goes, there's McLeish. McCoist gets the third!
Ali's striking partner at the time was Mark Haitley, whose aerial dominance provided the perfect foil for McCoist.
I did the running and the hard work, and he put the ball in the back of the net, basically. You know, but no, on a serious note, I think that just doesn't happen. You know, you have to work at your game to make that happen. I think he realised. I said to him, I said, it doesn't matter how hard you work in the box, it's how hard you work out the box that tires everybody out. And if you're fit, you can tire your opponent out, you will score more goals.
David Robertson, to reach Haitley. Oh, it's a lovely touch from McCoist, a terrific goal for Rangers.
Gary Stevens in space on the right. Playing it in there to McCoist. Ali McCoist for Rangers.
Mark and I went out feeling we were going to score every game. I just felt like we really did hit it off. We did, because I mean he was strong, powerful, great in the air, and I wasn't.
The combination of McCoist and Haitley was unstoppable as Ali raced towards his remarkable total of 41 goals. In the last game of the season against Aberdeen, Ali still needed 2 more to be sure of being Europe's top scorer. He could have chosen easier places to go to try and get the goals which meant so much to him. But once again, when the chances presented themselves, McCoist took them. Ali's incredible club form naturally earned him a place in the national team, and he would prove his value to Scotland from his very first strike against Hungary in 1987. Even when up against opposition expected to dominate Scotland, Ali's efforts regularly eased the pressure on an overworked defence, and he was always likely to snatch a goal.
Popescu. His dummy was well read by Boyd. He can charge forward now. He's very quick indeed now. Petrescu trying to get back, and Boyd's strength carries him to the ball. Chance now for Paul McStay, setting it up. McLeod playing it across, and it's tapped in by McCoist. Scotland take the lead.
Ali played in many unforgettable Scottish matches, but the one he relishes most was the match with Switzerland in Euro '96.
Patted my back saying, he's like, great, go and get another one. He says, but it doesn't have to be so spectacular this time, just make sure you get another one. But unfortunately, we never got another one would have seen us through.
Assembled one of their greatest ever sides. McCoist epitomised the unique bond which characterised that side on and off the pitch. He became the spearhead of a remarkable team.
McPherson playing it through to
Ian Ferguson, McCoist in the middle, House was arriving, so too is Durant. Ian Durant gets a cross ball, Ali McCoist!
The provider of that cross, his great friend Ian Durant, has probably laid on more opportunities for Ali than any other player. From his days as Ali's boot boy, Ian has been an important factor in the career of Ali McCoist.
Now it's Durant. Good ball through to Ali McCoist, who's onside. McCoist!
A lot of people can pass the ball and pass the ball very well, but Ian's secret is he knows when to pass the ball and do it very well. He knows the most important thing is not when he wants to pass it. The most important thing is when your teammate wants to receive it.
Here comes Ali McCoist again. McCoist! That does it!
I was very young when I broke into the team. I seen the relationship I had with David Cooper. David Cooper didn't have to look up and just whip a ball in, Coist be there. And I just got to know it now. Just learning things off him in training where he'd always be. Now, he was quick, but quick over 10 yards. And I knew if I'd put the ball there, 9 times out of 10 he'd be there. And it was just a thing, it just grew. Now we grew together. The training ground, we were playing together nearly for 14 years, so we had to get it right one time.
The avalanche of goals continued. In October he scored all 4 against Falkirk. His hunger for goals and the dream of again becoming the top striker in Europe drove him on. No matter how accomplished the defence, McCoist always seemed to come out on top.
Here come Rangers again. McCall, Ferguson, Mikhailichenko, a nice backheel flick. Here's Mikhailichenko, Ali McCoist, brilliant play by Rangers! Ali McCoist gets his hat-trick.
No one was safe. The champions of England would fall to the power and skill of McCoist and Rangers.
And McCoist! Rangers get the lead.
In the second leg at Elland Road, Ali delivered the knockout blow to dump Leeds United out of the Champions League qualifier.
Speed playing it through for Cantona. Brown's challenge was a strong one and a good one, and Durant now leading the charge. Here's Haitley. Coist on the far side. It's a super goal, and Rangers now have thoroughly killed off this European Cup tie. The joy on the face of Ali McCoist. A super strike down the left, an inch perfect cross. And that Predator-in-Chief, Ali McCoist, registers goal number 29 of the season.
That season was arguably the best in the club's recent history. The team had a run of 44 games without defeat in all competitions and were unbeaten in Europe. Ali McCoist, the goal machine, who stood out even in a team who were already spoken of as Rangers greats. Rangers seemed certain to go on to win the treble that year, with Ali one of their greatest contributors. In the Scottish Cup he had scored in every round, and only Hearts stood between them and a cup final.
Bouncing it on, here's McCoist. Walker changed his mind, and Rangers are ahead. Ali McCoist maintains his incredible record of scoring in every match this season against Hearts.
But then the fates which had seemed to smile on McCoist for so long were about to deal him the cruelest of blows. His leg was broken while playing for Scotland in Portugal.
We were getting a doing with Portugal over there, and I was having a bit of a run-in with the centre half. So when I hit the boy Oceano, I never saw him coming, I just swung through. And as I swung through, my shin hit his knee, and I just felt like searing pain. So Hugh Allen comes on, so he says, how you doing? I said, just a bit sore. He says, get me up. So as he lifts me up, my next statement is, right, okay, that's good, that's the first step, now get me off. I don't like taking any tablets or anything like that, so I wouldn't take any painkillers. And the doc says, look, you need to take a couple of painkillers. I said, no, I don't like taking tablets. But I was beginning to get, I need to take something here. He says, right, that's it. He said, if you're not going to take a painkiller, here's what you're taking. And he opened up his bag, and with 2 bottles of red wine duty free. And that was That was my painkillers for Doc Hillis, the Scottish team doctor. So I've stuck you right in it there, Doc. We're in 2 bottles of his Portuguese red wine that he was taking home for the family. But I definitely needed something.
On a personal level, of course, the break was a tragedy for Ali, while for the club it only emphasised how irreplaceable the striker had become.
It was going to be an enormous loss for us because, I mean, he had been, along with Mark Haitley, the mainstay of our team in terms of scoring goals, but he had obviously been the major influence in that, and a lot of the games where you're maybe not playing too well, you start to miss that, the opportunity coming up, not getting taken, and we were under increasing data pressure. So it was a big blow first and foremost to Alistair, but to everybody that was involved at Rangers at that time.
The team's spirit at Rangers at that time was something very special, and Ali was determined not to be left out of the celebrations after one of the best seasons of his career.
But to go to Airdrie to win the league, and I said to Doc, "You got to let me go." He says, "No, you're not going," because it was too close to breaking my leg. And he said, "I can't, no, it's celebrations. We're going to win you're not going to win the league. Got to celebrate." He says, "No, it's the last thing you need with broken legs. So stay at home." So I'm listening to the game on the radio, and the next minute, final whistle goes, "We've won the league." And the commentator saying, "Yes, and tremendous, a great appearance here by Ali McCoist." And I'm going, "Can it be happening?" You know. And it was only when I saw the highlights at night that Ian Ferguson's been running about with a cardboard cutout, a life-size cardboard cutout of myself. And it was great because the photographs are getting taken. I'm sitting there like that, a big cheesy in this cardboard cutout. I was a little bit upset because the photograph got taken outside the penalty box, and everybody knew that I would never be outside the penalty box. The photograph should have been taken in the 6-yard box.
A genuine extrovert, it takes a lot to extinguish that ever-present McCoist smile. But understandably, there were times when the injury got him down.
There was tough times. I mean, there really was some tough times. And even Archie Knox was brilliant because you'd beast in, you'd hit the wall, you definitely would hit the wall at various times in your rehab, and Archie would suss it. And I remember going for a couple of pints with Archie. So like maybe on a Sunday we'd go to Wee Loco, and him and I would sit and have a couple of pints, maybe watch your football, you know. And it's brilliant management, that really.
Yeah.
And then he'd maybe have a day off the next day, and then you're away again.
But it was to be some time before Ali was away again. It was 5 long months before he returned, and when he did, it was in his own unique Super Ali style.
I spoke to him a couple of days before that, and I told him that I was only going to be making him substitute, and he was unhappy with that because he was dead keen to play. But I always remember sitting in the night before the game and saying to the boys, the scenario can be there for him because you couldn't write a script for him, and putting him on in the situation that he came on in, and you had an inkling in the back of your mind that he would be the person that would get the goal, and that's the way it turns out, and that's Ali McCoist.
Somebody must have stuck 2 cushions down my backside when I came on. I came on, all you could see was this giant arse coming on, you know. And it was amazing.
McCoist joins Haitley through the middle. He's just signalled to Ian Durrant to move to that position wide on the left. So David Robertson will launch one perhaps into the penalty area here. The long throw looking for Haitley's flick on. That's McCoist with the acrobatic effort. McCoist does it for Rangers.
The celebration, I think, summed it up because it was like relief and just a weight off my shoulders, and it was just one of the best moments I can remember in a football park. And I was almost crying with it. It was just the excitement of scoring obviously the winner in the cup final, and obviously coming back from the broken leg. I think this was me maybe convincing myself, not convincing anybody else, convincing myself that it was me back and I could get back playing again.
By season 93-94, Rangers began to realise that Celtic's record of 9 championships in a row could be equalled if not beaten. McCoist was determined to be part of that campaign. But once again, injury problems too often left Ali a spectator. It was not a position he relished.
I go to games, yeah, but not a good spectator. I'd far rather be out there. You kick every ball and you're shouting and end up fighting with guys in the crowd and things like that. I remember the worst scenario ever was Ian Ferguson and I were injured at the same time. The game's going on, we're conducting running battles with guys behind us. What do you know? I don't know. You know, shut up, you know. that just shows you get carried away, you get caught up in the passion.
In the absence of their top striker, Rangers brought in Gordon Durie, who made an impressive contribution. But when McCoist was finally past fit in February, he was determined to show that he had lost none of the old magic. And Ali couldn't resist reminding the fans that it always came right in the end. That hat-trick consolidated Ali's claim to the number 9 jersey as Rangers powered towards their 6th league title in a row. As the club's main striker, he made sure that there would be no slip-ups on the road to the championship.
Header by McCoist! So what a good goal it was. The finish was so accurate with the header.
Charlie. Playing it through, that's a good ball for English. Oh, superb equaliser from Isaac English. Person's header, touched by McCall. This is Durie. Rangers always dangerous in these closing stages. They've proved it so often this season. Just right to the final whistle. Here's McCoist. Well, Ali McCoist ties up the points in dramatic fashion in a minute of injury time. Delight among Rangers fans. Well, he's had one of his quietest nights, but the man knows how to score goals. Under a fair bit of pressure, and they're under pressure again. It's McCoist. Rangers get the equaliser.
That championship was hard won due to a massive injury list, which included McCoist at times. But it was all forgotten when the team was presented with their 7th trophy in their last 8 domestic competitions. Ali, as always, was the first to lead off the celebrations.
Vitality is done, for there's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers. No, not one, and there never shall be one.
At that moment, all the injury problems seemed to be in the past as he headed towards the new season. But 94-95 was a desperate disappointment for McCoist as injury struck again. He made only 4 full appearances. Already, many pundits were saying that his career was over. Walter Smith didn't agree.
I think Arthur's always had that determination to disprove any kind of doubters that he had, whether it was in his ability or whether it was in his attitude towards fighting injury. I think when a player who's played the amount of football that he had played prior to breaking his leg, when that happens to them and they're out for a while, when they come back, it takes a while for them to get started again, and they're liable to get different types of injury when they're coming back. And Alistair met every one of them with a challenge.
Break your heart when you get into training, crack, boys are going to the bus and you get into the gym. You'd have to go through it and go swimming, but you've got guys around you. At the end of the day, you've got to do it yourself. But you've got guys around that you can help, and we had some magnificent people around me.
The people think he's working. Watch. Is he? Right. People think he's been working now. See, he's sweating.
That's the first drink I've had of John Gregg in 12 years. Thanks, John.
By the way, you know what you're getting it for?
What's that, John?
Supporter of the year.
Not a lot you can say to that, really. Dish out, I suppose you've got to take it, haven't you? It's been a nightmare. It's been one thing after another. But I had my initial 2 days worth of depression, where Kirky took me out for a pint, so it wasn't so bad. And once I got over that shock, you just got to set a target again, get yourself fit. Obviously been a bit injury prone since I broke my leg, but that's all behind me now. I said that before.
But the injury problems continued and consigned him once again to the sidelines. However, it did give Ali a chance to watch one of the most talented players ever to come to Ibrox, someone who would go on to supply him with some irresistible goal-scoring opportunities.
Oh, brilliant. I've been really, really lucky. I've played with some really gifted players. I mean, some of the best in the world. talk about, you know, Durant, Cooper, Gascoigne, and Laudrup certainly comes in that category. Laudrup was a genius, an absolute genius. And looking at him, he shouldn't have been really, because his body didn't look made to be a football player. And I mean that in the right sense, because we used to call him long body. I didn't have to look at him. I knew that, you know, if I tried to lose my defender, I could make a run, knowing that if Brian thought it was the right ball or the right run, he'd give me it, and inevitably he would, because he could come across people and put it in behind. He could take people on, lay it back. He just had, you know, he had such talent, and I think it's safe to say that, you know, if you made a run, Brian would see you. He created an awful lot of chances, an awful lot of goals for me, you know, obviously, which I'm very grateful.
Those interminable injury problems would have depressed many players. Typically, McCoist's sense of humour and relish for dressing room wind-ups carried him through.
We've had a few. But this is a PG, I think, so I don't think I can divulge any of that.
At one period when we were doing well, I felt they were getting a wee bit lax, and in our weekly weigh-ins, Alistair had put on a few pounds, which, you know, he's liable to do. You know, being a lad that looks after what he drinks and what he eats. So I was having a team meeting, and I thought, well, I'll threaten a few of them. And our goalie was famous for his dietary exploits as well. And I went through him and then into McCoist. And I said to McCoist, and make no mistake, if you don't adapt to it, then we'll get somebody else to come in. And I said, 'cause I'm a wee bit fed up with you always coming in and putting the weight on. So he just sat there, and as I was leaving the room, which was a big dressing room at Ibrox, I just heard the voice saying, "And where are you going to get?" And I just remember leaving the room, and you always expect a comment. And as I was just going through the door, I just heard them say, "And where are you going to get a 6-stone Biafran that'll score you 40 goals a season?" and I just kept walking, but I couldn't help laughing, going down the dressing room area and back into our office.
1995-96 heralded a new start for Ali. His fitness had returned, and he had a point to prove against Celtic, who were returning to Parkhead from their temporary home at Hampden. The Celtic fans looked upon it as the dawn of a new golden age. But Ali had different ideas.
Goff also is there. It was very well won by Hughes. Didn't fall kindly for Miller. Gascoigne. Great chance there. It's in. It's a goal for Rangers. Scored by McCoist.
Gascoigne get a ball wide and right and floated it across. And I just come in at the back post, and I think it was Tommy Boyd that just got above and headed it by Big Marsh. And away we went and finished 1-0. It was magic, because I think it was definitely, I was the first Rangers player to have a wee celebration dance right in front of the new jungle.
That season also saw the break-up of arguably the most potent striking partnership in British football, when Mark Hateley left Rangers for Queen's Park Rangers.
But I think it would be difficult for anybody to come in and play the way I played. For Alistair, I mean, we were a good foil for each other and for the team, because if one wasn't scoring, the other one would score, and if we were both scoring, then it was a doddle really. Myself and Alistair, I think you class as a team within a team. I think if you look at striking partnerships through the 90, I think you would find it's possibly one of the most successful, if not the most successful one going. I think what myself and Alistair had at the club would be unmatched, I would say, for a long time.
But again, Ali would show his ability to refine his game and adapt to new partners. Inevitably, the main threat to Rangers' championship hopes came from Celtic. Rangers had already knocked them out of the Coca-Cola Cup courtesy of a McCoist goal when the big two met again in September, with Celtic at the top of the league. This time McCoist would be the provider for the new arrival at Ibrox, the shy, retiring Paul Gascoigne.
2 against 2 up front here. Salenko and McCoist together. That's good play by Salenko. McCoist as Gascoigne racing through the middle. It's great play for Rangers.
I was probably as close to him at Rangers as MD. I've laughed with Gascoigne, I've fought with Gascoigne, played golf, you name it, we've done a lot. I feel honestly very thankful that Gascoigne was in my life. I look on him as a friend, he's an amazing character.
The irrepressible Gaza ensured that there was never a dull moment in the Ibrox dressing room.
The door gets kicked open and he storms into the dressing room. I looked him up, he's got a suit on, his bag, and he walks into the middle of the floor, dropped his bag, right, waited till everybody was looking at him, just went and smiled, right, and did a complete turn. And what had happened was he'd been to get his teeth capped, right, but I believe they put in false ones before his real set get done. So he came in the morning with his like, false teeth at the front. The place was in uproar for 5 minutes, which is a long time, and he just kept turning and going like that to everybody. So we're all rolling about. I said, Paul, he said, what? I said, you could chew an apple through a letterbox with them, right? And we're away again. But his line at the end, it was, he says, you know, he said, I knew I was struggling this morning. He said, how's that, Paul? He says, I was walking out the door, and my dad says, Paul. I says, what? He says, all the best.
There might have been 1,000 laughs in the dressing room, but on the pitch, business was deadly serious.
Great header by McCoist. Rangers are back in the lead. And that was masterly.
At the time, there was a lot of superstars, as you know, in the team, signing for 4 million, 5 million, big money signings. And he made us feel just as good as like being a £4 million star. We go to Rangers, big club, feeling very nervous. First day, and he's, how you doing, wee man? And great to be here. Let's go and let's win 8 in a row, 9 in a row. Let's go all the way, and it was great, you know.
I firmly believe that a happy dressing room, it doesn't necessarily mean a good football team or a successful team, but I think it goes an awful long way to helping success in the park, and we certainly had that.
That attitude resulted in one of the most memorable Old Firm matches in recent years, the 3-3 draw at Ibrox, when Celtic were determined to collect their first win over Rangers that season.
Again, Goff's forward, so too is Petric. Again, there's a fair bit of movement on the far side of the box. Gascoigne strikes it in. And it's there. Super Ali does it again. He's been in the field only a few minutes. It was Gascoigne who provided the cross. And McCoist with yet another header.
What a game of football that was. I was subbing, come on, and managed to score a second goal. And the look of disappointment when I scored the third goal again is unbelievable, because it's an OG Batosh. And I was standing right behind him, half hoping he'd miss it. But probably the biggest memory of that game was the save the goalkeeper had from Van Hooijdonk. For me, it just summed everything up about the goalie. And there's no doubt in my mind he took great pleasure and obvious pride in performing well against Celtic. And that save just summed it up, because he had no right to make that save. And it was just a moment of footballing genius. And I remember looking around after he made the save, and all the Celtic players were just looking at each other, you know, for some sort of support. You know, did you see that? You know, and it was brilliant.
A Rangers fan since boyhood, one of Ali's great heroes had always been Bob McPhail, a Rangers star in the 1920s. Many had thought his record of 230 league goals could never be beaten. Privately, it was Ali's most precious ambition to prove them wrong.
He was great with me, because right at the start of my career at Rangers, everything wasn't going according to plan, it just wasn't going so smoothly. And he always used to have a wee quiet word with me saying, you know, just keep working away, the goals will come. And such is the respect I have for the man. When I did break his record, typical Mr. McPhail, who's the first guy there with outstretched hands saying congratulations. And it meant an awful lot to me. And that record, it'll take some beating. I would never sit here and say it'll never be beaten, because Mr. McPhail probably thought for many years that his record wouldn't be beaten. So I would never say that. But it will take some beating, because it's an awful lot of goals, and I'm proud of every one of them.
Back in the race for the Championship, Rangers' dominance was under threat. Celtic were neck and neck when Rangers travelled to meet Raith Rovers in Kirkcaldy. They were soon 1-0 down and struggling to find an equaliser. It was the perfect scenario for you-know-who.
We were really tall in the league one year. I went up to Raith Rovers, and I think you get 2 in the last 2 minutes. And that sort of set us on a run till the end of the season. If we'd dropped points then, I think Celtic would have got a gap up us, and that would have been the end of the 9 in a row.
Gascoigne's corner. Up goes Petric and McCoist! The equaliser for Rangers! 7 minutes from the end. Still the pressure's on. Gascoigne again with a corner. Guedes at full stretch. McCoist filled it in. The goal for Rangers! McCoist has won the match for Rangers!
Just a tremendous moment. I just remember after scoring one of the goals, Archie, the gaffer, at 12, he was dancing up and down outside the dugout. I used to expand most of my energy running towards the dugout to celebrate more than anything, because we had to win that game and we were under the cosh, and those goals were really, really vital. I wouldn't sit here and say they were the goals that won the championship, but they might just have been really important. Well, they certainly were really important.
The title was finally won in the sun at Ibrox when Paul Gascoigne provided a remarkable performance.
It's been very evenly balanced. Here's Gascoigne now, pushing forward, showing great determination. Oh, he's done it again!
2-0 up on Aberdeen, Rangers were then awarded a penalty. If Gaza scored, it would mean a hat-trick and the championship.
And he looked at me, he's big eyes, one of his big St Bernards, right, because I take the penalties. And I went, don't even ask, you're not getting it, right? He went, and he's like, please. I went, oh, all right then, so again. She stuck in, well done. But I couldn't grudge him the hat-trick. It was fantastic.
8 in a row had been a vital season for Rangers, but the next was the one thousands of fans had been waiting 22 years for. The squad were under immense pressure to win their 9th consecutive title.
Had we not done it, we'd have been forever known, no matter how good we were and winning 8, we would always have been known as a team that never made 9, never equalled Celtic's record. And that's how important it was for us to win 9 in a row.
Ali's determination to make it 9 in a row was obvious when in just the second game of the championship, he scored yet another hat-trick.
Here's Charlie Miller, looking for McCoist. 3-1 to Rangers. Here's McCoist for his hat-trick. Magnificent finishing.
Our group that were there that had been Rangers supporters since they were young. We're desperate for that. And knew that everybody at the club was desperate to get that. Like Sally and people within our dressing room who were making sure that it just wasn't an ordinary league championship, it was one that we had to go and win.
Away from the championship race, Rangers had also reached the final of the Coca-Cola Cup. It was to be an explosive match in more ways than one.
Laudrup, away from Ritchie. McCoist. 1-0 to Rangers. McCoist does it again. McCoist wants the ball played long. Delivered as requested. Great save by Rousset.
extremely well, McCoist. Up goes Petric. Chance on there for Moore. It's played in by McCoist. The second for Rangers.
But feelings were running high in the Rangers team as Hearts fought back. The flashpoint came as Paul Gascoigne mounted another attack.
I went to make a run in behind and he played it to where I was. What happens? And he went, next time I come through, he says, be a wall, stand up for me and be a wall. And give me a 1-2. I went, okay, I went in behind, no problem. So next time he comes, I don't need to tell you, stand up, and he plays the ball in behind, right? So when he realises I don't run behind, he gives it one of them. So I ran after him, I says, right, young. I says, you throw those hands up again, right, in front of the crowd, make me look an idiot. I says, I'm going to leather you, right? He goes, oh yeah, I'll have some of that, he says, right?
Even by half-time, the two players had not resolved their differences, and it was left to Walter Smith to restore order.
But we're still arguing. Boys are trying to split us up. So I see the gaffer coming in, right? Who's a man not to be messed with, by the way, when he loses it. So he comes in and he starts, right, you two, sit down. So I can see a look in his eye, so I sit down. So the guy's going, still having some. Well, I thought, you beauty, watch this. So Walter grabs him, didn't he? So I thought Walter was going to kill him. He pins him up. Right, pins Gascoigne and says, look, when I say tell you to sit down, you sit down. And next minute, it was like something to Tom and Jerry. He just comes down the seat and all the way into the seat like that, right? He was just sitting, sung the seat. And I thought, what, you know, I knew, having been with Walter when I was 17, I knew he went to have a laugh, have a wee joke, you know, have a go, have a dig at him. But I also knew, more importantly, when he...
As Gascoigne breaks into a shooting position, he's done it!
I think Gaz got a fright that Cloisty had attacked him in the manner he had done at half time, and in the second half he turned in a tremendous performance, and he got 2 goals in the second half of the game. So we have to thank Cloisty for his motivational part.
Well, can Hearts come back again? Here's Gascoigne once more.
That victory meant a record 9th League Cup medal for Ali McCoist, more than any other Rangers player. And of course a success which quickly restored the traditional camaraderie in the dressing room. By this stage in Ali's career, most people thought that there were no records left to be beaten. But one still remained. Gordon Wallace's total of 264 league goals. It would soon join all the others which had fallen to McCoist's astonishing appetite for goals.
Queuing up in the centre! It really had to come. Came from McCoist. Gascoigne still in possession. It's there, and it's McCoist! Rangers are in front. The record breaker is McCoist.
The race to achieve 9 in a row was reaching its climax. Rangers had beaten Celtic every time they had met that season, but the crucial game was at Tannadice in May. If Rangers beat Dundee United, the championship would be theirs.
Miller's cross is a good one, that hits Laudrup! It's a classic from Laudrup!
I mean, the whole thing was bizarre, wasn't it? Worse than that, Charlie Miller crossed with his left foot. It was crazy. But I was delighted, the fact that all that hard work that year, all that nervous tension, all the nervous energy had come, and it was fitting that Brian Laudrup scored that goal. One of, if not the greatest thing about that team, because in the photographs when we're celebrating, there's about 25 guys, 25 players and coaching staff, and that was what it was all about. It wasn't about the 11 that played.
The sense of achievement and sheer relief was clear to see. The long wait was at last over. The coach journey home was to be a memorable one for all the squad.
The bus turned into about 3 days, I think. I can't remember going on the bus and coming off it. And when I got off, it was daylight. That was a good trip. It was just one of these things. You want to savour every moment of it, and we did. That was a good thing about Rangers. When we did something together, we did win something. When we all did it together, and it did usually last a couple of days.
You've seen George Square. It's pandemonium at George Square, and all the fans were there, and it was amazing. And we were sitting on top of the bus, out the skylights, sitting on top of the bus, and all the fans were there. It was tremendous, and we went all the way up Paisley Road, mobbed all the way to Ibrox. It's just the stuff that you think about and hope's going to happen. And the streets were all lined, and it was just like, it was an amazing achievement.
But all great eras inevitably come to an end. Ali's final season for Rangers was 1997-98, and he was determined to go out in style.
McCoist getting the break of the ball off Brian Martin, shooting an opportunity! Oh, McCoist! McCoist is there! Ali McCoist puts Rangers 2-1 in front and scores his 350th goal for the club. This time it's Albert's on the chase. But this one's McCoist! 1-0 to Rangers, and it's the old stager who's done it again for Walter Smith. How often has this man been the scourge of Celtic?
That was Ali's 27th goal against Celtic. From his earliest days at Ibrox, Ali had always particularly relished scoring against Rangers' greatest rivals. And he still vividly remembers his first and fastest Old Firm goal.
I think today it's still the quickest Old Firm goal ever. I've got Big Roy to thank for that one, Big Roy Aiken. Because he came in and clattered Sandy Clark after about 3 seconds of an Old Firm game. And hoofed him. Well, it's normally later, and he was normally an earlier in that, Big Roy, you see. And I get a great crack with Big Roy. And we get a quick free kick. And Pritchie took it and knocked it wide right to Davy McKinnon.
Well, there's a great goal! Ali McCoist, right out the blue, right through the Celtic defence, 27 seconds.
Can you imagine scoring against Celtic after 27 seconds? It was amazing. I can still see it as if it was yesterday. But I'm proud of that goal and proud of the fact that it's still the quickest Old Firm goal on record. As a lot of the boys were saying, I didn't hang about to open my account for Rangers against Celtic, and thankfully and really pleasingly I continued to do that throughout my Rangers career.
And even more remarkable perhaps was Ali's first Celtic match in the League Cup competition, the final of 1983-84.
Stepping inside, Bonner McLeod, and a penalty kick has been given. A penalty kick to Rangers. McCoist against Bonner. Perfectly stopped away by Ali McCoist, and Rangers take the lead. So 15 minutes of the second half gone. Is this the second for Rangers? Yes, Ali McCoist has done it. That'll be a penalty? Yes, Aiken penalised for that rash challenge on Ali McCoist. McCoist facing Pat Bonner with a kick which could win the League Cup for Rangers. They made it at the second attempt.
I would hate the Old Firm games to lose their passion, their intensity. Obviously there's a lot of nonsense goes on we could do without. For those 90 minutes it was intense as you'll ever get. And I've been to other derby games in Britain and they're pale by comparison, and that's the gospel truth. Obviously the quality of football can be argued upon, but in terms of the occasion they're just unbelievable, they really are.
He's way inside, there's McCoist! Ali McCoist! The celebrations begin for Rangers. Onto the ball beating Grant, here's McCoist. Magnificent goal, Ali McCoist!
Graham Souness, he got it right but he got it wrong. Graham, when he said the game against Celtic's just another 2 points, right? Which in theory is a wonderful statement and the right one to make.
Yeah, but completely untrue.
But completely untrue. It really is.
Yeah.
So it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
It really is. And I think, to be fair to Graham, he realised that 6 months after he'd said it how wrong it was.
That was especially obvious in the explosive Old Firm game of October 1987, when goalkeeper Chris Woods, Celtic's Frank McAvenny and later Rangers captain Terry Butcher were all ordered off.
Going through and Roberts, no mistake this time, Celtic are in front. Stark now to get sideways, McStay helps it on to Grant. Oh, that's a good ball from Stark, here's Walker, that's for Peter Grant, that's the second. Good play again from Ferguson, here's Goff, still Richard Goff, now McCoist with a great chance for Rangers, he's made it! Rangers are right back in the match. Ali McCoist with his 19th goal of the season. And Ibrox erupts once again. Derek Ferguson playing it wide for Durant. Rogan comes to meet him. Oh, that's good running by Durant. He's away from Rogan. There the ball inside. McCarthy did well with the header, but it's Durant again. The last chance perhaps for Rangers. The chance is on for Goff! Richard Goff makes it 2 apiece! In the final minute of the match. What incredible drama here at Ibrox!
I think if you look over a period for Rangers and Celtic games, certainly in the last 15 years or so, you would look and say that probably Ali McCoist had the greatest effect in the outcome of matches. Than any other player on either side. These games are so competitive and it's difficult to get a number of goals in them, and he's managed to do that consistently. Even when Rangers maybe weren't at their peak at any given time, even before the Graham Souness era when he was there, he always managed to get in there and get a goal against Celtic.
Back to Brown, blocked by McCarthy, there's McCoist! Deadly finishing by Ali McCoist.
That goal in April 1998 was Ali's last against Celtic, but it helped take his side into the Scottish Cup final, where Ali would make his final appearance for Rangers.
Here's Gattuso, McCoist! Goal!
Goal by McCoist.
Ali McCoist has got the goal that might yet revive Rangers. 9 minutes to go, and is it going to be enough to bring them back into it?
But for once, there was no fairy tale ending. Ali McCoist and several of his teammates knew that this was the last time they would pull on the famous blue jersey.
It was the most emotional time in my sporting life, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I remember in the dressing room after the game, back to Ibrox, and we're all standing there, and Gaffer came in and thanked everyone, said a few words, and then Goffey said a few words. He's greeting his eyes out, and I've decided I'm going to say a few words. So I've started. Everybody's in tears. I'm greeting. I can't get my few words out, and I'm looking at these Italians, and I'm going, "What's going on here?" All the Italians, there's me and Big Goffey crying, Gorham crying, we're all crying. But I wouldn't have swapped it. Wouldn't have swapped it for a minute. There's no doubt about it. There's people out there will be sitting there going, "What are they talking about? Crying? Game of football, it's work." But unless you were in that environment and in that squad of friends, you know, you probably might find it difficult to accept. But if you're in it, you could fully appreciate it, what it meant to so many people.
So what does the future hold for Ali after Rangers? A career in the media had long been predicted. Ali had been a regular guest and was now team captain in the long-running quiz show, A Question of Sport.
I don't normally get this much makeup on, but we're just making a special effort. Because the lights are really bad tonight, it's early, somebody was saying. I know when I've got myself. You're going to stay at me.
It's like the Chainsaw Massacre down here, isn't it?
The banter with opposing captain John Parrott has helped to make the programme one of the most popular on television.
We were guests on a show together many years ago, and you're immediately caught by how infectious he is. When he comes into the place and he's always got a smile on his face, and you know, basically what you see on the show is what you get. Ali's very, you know, he's very easygoing and a good lad to talk to. And to be honest with you, in certain respects, we're quite similar in that respect. I mean, if you can't get on with the both of us, you've got a problem. So he came and we immediate affinity just to chat to each other and you know, enjoyed the show.
It's like a marriage made in heaven, man. You've got a daft scouser and a daft jock, you know, captaining two teams. It's brilliant. It really is brilliant. And we bounce off each other. That's the great thing. If he says something, he knows he's going to get something back, and if I say something, I know it's only a matter of time where he's in giving me a bit.
To me, it's never bothered me in the slightest coming on, and Ali is exactly the same. But it's amazing to get people who've like won the 100 metres Olympic sprints and, you know, been in cup finals, and I mean, I'd be absolutely peeing my pants if it was that, you know, for me, and yet they come on here for half an hour for a quiz show and you know, can be quite nervous. So it's basically our job to be good hosts and settle them down.
And the secret of the show is we go down, maybe film 2 or 3, and we'll have a glass of wine before it and a bit of chat, get to know everybody. And when you go out, you just want your fun.
Oh, that's a nice. Is that an away question, Sue, by any chance? Can I have how many pieces of wood are on the cricket field?
I don't know, but there's a big piece of wood struggling to answer this.
That's a scandalous question. You'd have got that for £1 million, and who wants to be a millionaire? I'd still be phoning a friend. That would be your help,
Andy, Chris Tarrant would be like, Andy, do you want to phone somebody that you met once? That you said hello to in a pub, or just, you know.
I told you I was phoning a friend.
Ali was deeply disappointed not to be selected for the Scotland squad in the 1998 World Cup, but he did make it to France as a member of the BBC team.
I would think at this stage, I'm still impressed with Spain and France. Argentina, Brazil. Can't be many left, can there really?
You're covering yourself well. Listen, I know that you'll want to go off and have perhaps a small cafe au lait, but...
Let's talk more.
We'll see you in 6:80. Night, Alistair.
Good night, Dougie. It's how you react to these things that's the test of character. I mean, it's a real blow, body punch, if you like, when it happens to you. But it's how you bounce back and react to it that's the most important thing. And as it happens, I had a wonderful World Cup. I was there, as you well know.
I remember it well some of it.
I would far rather have been there as a player to this day. But I had the fortunate experience to go and work with the Beeb. And I just had a magnificent time. During the World Cup last year,
where we were presenting the shows from was in front of the Louvre Museum. And we were filling up a little bit at half-time one day, and I said to him, have you been to the Louvre? And he said, I went a few minutes ago, I was fit to bursting. You know, and it just came out the top of his head like that, and it made everybody laugh, and I'm sure the viewers at home too. But that's what endears people to him. He is funny. He's self-deprecating too. And I think he's going to go a long, long way in the television business, I really do. I hate him, of course. He's far too good at everything.
Ali also stars in his own chat show with comedian Fred Macaulay, and even Des was impressed with his performance.
I went on to McCoist and Macaulay last year, and I noticed then what a good professional he's become. He can do a piece straight to camera. He wears an earpiece, so he's listening to all the garbage that you get in your ear at the same time. That takes some doing. He hadn't been doing it that long. He's funny, and he asks the right questions when he's interviewing you too. Embarrassingly so in my case, but it was an interesting experience. I think he's a bright fella. They're paying me a lot of money for this, by the way, Ali.
But the biggest break in Ali's expanding media career came when he landed a major role in a Hollywood movie, The Cup. He was the personal choice of its legendary star, Robert Duvall. So now it's Ali McCoist, film star. So how does he end up making a film about Scottish football, and how do you end up starring in it?
Well, I think the second question is rather obvious, Diggy, but we'll take your first question.
We made an appointment to meet in the lobby of the Hilton Hotel, 3, 4, 5 months ago, whenever it was. And when he walked across the lobby, Michael Corinthian and I shook his hand, and we knew. I mean, it was a strange kind of naivete on our part, but we kind of knew. And people back in the States said, well, didn't you screen test the guy? We said, no, he's never acted before, but we're going on instinct, kind of a certain positive blind faith, and we said, the part is yours if you would like to do it. And he said yes.
I still can't believe it. I just absolutely loved working with the man, because his knowledge about Scottish football was tremendous, you know. It was like watching somebody who just wanted to be the best. But what people don't realise, he was going to Hamilton Accies, he was going to Albion Rovers, he was going to Raith Rovers, he was getting the whole package, you know. He was going into the dressing room at Raith Rovers and sitting, listening, watching, learning, educating himself, you know, and it was tremendous, because that was his research. That was him wanting to be good at what he was about to play.
But even before that fateful first meeting, Duvall had auditioned actors who had been suggested for the part of Jackie McQuillan.
There was a guy, Russell Crowe, who's a good actor, and I talked to him because he was in LA Confidential, and he didn't want to do it, thank God, and then subsequently a friend of mine who was a professional athlete said he saw Russell Crowe do a stunt in the film, said he was so clumsy he could not believe it. So thank God we didn't have Russell Crowe or whoever else we may have considered. That, you know, in my mind now, there's only one person that could have played this part, it's Ali McCoist.
But no matter how strong the lure of a career in the movies, at heart Ali wanted to play football. In August '98, he signed for Kilmarnock. Manager Bobby Williamson had no doubts about his ability.
He was a goal scorer. He always has been all the way through his career, and I didn't see it finishing there. I knew he was left out of the World Cup squad, and I knew he would probably want to come back into football to prove a few people wrong. But I went and met him, and he actually turned up in time, which is quite unusual, and I thought, he means business.
I spoke to Bobby, I went down, played a couple of closed door matches, trained him, and he asked me to sign. I was more than delighted to sign, more than delighted.
I put it to him, I says, why do you want to put your reputation on the line? Is it like the boxer, I just wants to go for one more fight or whatever? And he says, no, I enjoy playing, I love playing the game, I love everything to do with football. And I want to keep going, I want to prove people wrong that I can still do it at the highest level. And that was good enough for me. I knew that was the case, he would do as a turn, and he has done.
Good play. Burst forward here. Oh, he did it so typically, Ali McCoist. Well, he warned them a couple of minutes ago. They didn't take the warning, and they've been punished. Well, this is the kind of football that Bobby Williamson has been encouraging, putting the emphasis on patience and possession. Ali McCoist going in there, and he's done it again!
picked up by Durant. A position he relishes. McCoist giving support on the left-hand side. Here's McCoist again, and it's there! The man's hat-trick! What a glorious comeback to Scottish football! And he made it look ridiculously easy. The two ex-Rangers together in new colours, but with the old familiar style.
It gave us a fright because we were looking at his bum and going like, how's he going to get about the full season? As I said, if you put the ball in the right position, 9 times out of 10 McCoist to be there if he's fit. And fortunate enough for us, he's been really fit. And in the games he's scored, and that's it, part and parcel. If he's fit and he's up for it, he'll score goals.
Just because he's had these films and he's going into other things, you know what I mean? From a supporter's point of view, they're looking at it as, oh, he's just here picking up a wage, you know, kind of thing. But I can assure the supporters that he's not just here picking up a wage every day in training. If you went out there and watched him, he puts in a shift day in, day out when he trains.
Yeah, that's because his video crew's doing, and they just fed him. You should have seen him yesterday, he was like Titanic turning. If anybody that knows Coist, he's a 37-year-old with a 21-year-old attitude, and as long as he can keep that carrying on, he'll be about for a few years yet.
Durant, it's through to McCoist, and it's 1-0 to Kilmarnock.
But football, after all, is only a game, and it was put into perspective when Mitchell, one of Ali and Alison's twin sons, was born with serious health problems.
He's a baby, right? But I call him a man. It's because he's been through more than any of us will go through in a lifetime. And my mum phoned me up the other day, and the school had been on. The old school had been on. They were filming one of these questionnaire things, you know. And the question, my mum usually phones up and she says, "But there's one question I couldn't answer for you because I forgot who your answer was." And the question was, "Which person in the world do you most admire?" And I said, "Well, Mum, you should just have told him Mitchell." And she went, "Oh, that's right, so I should have." And a lot of people would maybe think that's a strange thing to say for a 16-month-old baby. But I've become so much a better person within myself for the experiences I've had with Mitchell than I could ever wish for him than any other walk of life, because he's a remarkable person for what he's been through. Obviously, he couldn't have got through it himself. I mean, the people, the staff at York Hill, the surgeons and nurses, you know, I could sit here and thank them for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, but he could never get through it but for himself. The amount of respect I have for my wife after that, we're not out of the woods yet, and Mitchell's certainly not out of the woods yet, but I've got so much respect for that girl. It's unbelievable what she went through, not only in looking after Mitchell and going up to the hospital, but I mean looking after the other two as well, and the way she conducted herself was quite incredible, and it was, you know, it was humbling in many ways, and I just love her to bits for that.
Ali McCoist began his football career at St Johnstone and then moved on to Sunderland. But it was at Rangers, the club he had always supported, that he became a star. In March of 1999, the club staged a unique celebration, and it was an emotional occasion as dozens of famous players from the past and present gathered together. When the nominations were announced for the greatest striker, there was little doubt who would win.
And the winner is that old stager, Ali McCoist.
You don't have to.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could be serious just for a wee minute. That result today, I hope, finally dispels the conspiracy theory that me and my wee pal don't try against the old firm. But in all seriousness, to stand here before Derek Johnson, Ralphie Brand, Jimmy Miller, Mark Haitley, Colin Steen, Mr McPhail, I just, honest to God, cannot believe it, and thanks very, very, very much. Thank you.
I've never met anybody, never saw anybody that was better in movement inside the penalty area than him. He moves really well for his goals. He'll take defenders out of position and run back across them again to score. And his number of goals, I can assure you, they might look lucky. Certainly are not.
Any success I've had in the park, I've had to work for. I don't think I was allowed up the Gascoigne where I was really naturally gifted. I'm quite proud of the fact that I've worked really hard in my game, and I don't think I've abused my talents at all. I really don't think I have. And that means as much to me in setting an example to people, like especially young kids coming through, as scoring goals does.
Awards were also presented to the greatest ever Rangers team. Again, Ali was an obvious choice.
I remember going up on the stage and I looked at the team and I said it was myself, Laudrup, Hateley, David Cooper, Gascoigne. I remember walking up the stage and I said, by the way lads, I said, this team could score some goals and we'd have scored some goals. And it's still strange, I still look at that team and I think, it's hard to believe I'm in there. You know, I look at brilliant players and some of the best players, certainly the best players of their generation and best players probably in the world at that time. And to be part of that team, it's just, you know, it's a dream, it really is.
But the highest award was for the greatest Ranger ever. Not surprisingly, it went to the legendary John Gregg. For once, Ali was content with second place.
In my opinion, the right man won it. Gregg is known as a legend, always has been, always will be. But to come second to a man of that stature made me very, very proud.
If I could just be very brief, I want to tell you my greatest moment with Rangers, and I've been very, very privileged and proud to play with some great men, but my greatest moment with Rangers, and it probably surprised a few of you, was when we were defeated by Hearts in the Scottish Cup final last season, and we were in the dressing room, all the boys after, and a few of us were leaving, and the gaffer came in, Walter came in and said a few words, and I've never seen so many grown men unable to talk to each other in tears, because we knew it was the end for some of us in an era for Rangers Football Club. But the great thing was that Rangers Football Club will always continue to prosper. Thank you.
No matter what the future may hold for this charismatic character, Ali McCoist will always be remembered as Scotland's greatest striker. From his earliest days at Rangers, when he first displayed his insatiable appetite for goals, until the day he left, Ali McCoist always held a special place in the heart of every Rangers fan.